Okay, today I'm going to talk about some of the tools that you can use in Edmodo, which is a learning management system that's kind of similar to Facebook because it gives kids a lot of, or teachers as well as students, a lot of collaborative options. But obviously there's more to it than that as far as giving assignments and things like that. What we're looking at here is the homepage screen that you'll see in the teacher view, and then I've logged in as a student in my test class so that we can see what the student sees as well. So we'll refer to that a couple times. Just to start off, when you log in as a teacher, you'll be able to create classes, which you can see over here. This is the test class that I'm using just for this demonstration. I just called it Snyder Test. And to add students, you have a little class code right here that you can give whatever students you want to be a part of your class, and they can log in, and then when they input this code, they will automatically be added into your class, so whatever you post they will be able to see. You can also click this Add Students button here and give them a little printout or invite them by email, and they're actually adding on something where parents can join as well in the near future. So this is kind of the dashboard, and what we've got here are sort of your main functions. Note is basically like your discussions. So if I wanted to post a discussion, I have some down here that I've already done. So I said, hello students, take a few minutes to introduce yourself, and then as the student, one of my test students, I replied, and then every other student would be able to see this post and reply as well, just like a regular discussion board would work. And as the teacher, I can monitor all of the discussion between the students. So that's a good way to build community right off the bat. I can also create small groups within Edmodo. So if I come over here underneath classes, there's options to create small groups. So let's say I have a few students doing a group project. I can click on their group, and then they can have a discussion board going within their small group, which is really useful, especially if they need to communicate outside of school with each other. But I can also assign just that group an assignment or a quiz, or send just that group a poll and get their feedback that's isolated from the rest of the class. And we'll get into the assignments and quizzes in a minute. So back to my home page. If I want to give directions to students, I can use this note / discussion feature as well. And let's say I want to attach something and maybe tell students to fill out a survey. So I have this inventory of traits PDF that maybe I want to send home to my students and tell them to fill out at home and then bring back to school, or they could even fill it out, and if they can upload it on their computer, they could submit it back through Edmodo. So I would just choose that from my documents on my computer like anything else and click open, and that would attach. And then I could give them the directions, fill out this survey about your inherited traits. Return it on Monday, maybe. And I can post that. Every student in Edmodo will see it. They'll be able to download that PDF, and they'll know what their assignment is or what I want them to work on. If I wanted to make that a formal assignment, I could do the same thing here under the assignment tab. So I can title it, I could call it Inherited Traits. I could come down here to attach it, or I could hyperlink to some website that I want them to check out, or an article online to read, or anything like that. You can also access things from your Google Drive and from your library of assignments. So if you've been using Edmodo for a long time, you can build up a library of things and preload them, and you see the library tab up here. But you can preload them, and then you can sort of link things from your library that's within Edmodo, which is really convenient. And then the same way I would send that, and the students will get a notification on their homepage that will say you have this assignment and these are the directions and here are the attachments and whatnot. So let's look at the student view real quick. Speaking of that, so you can see here on the side that they have this little assignment center. This is the student's homepage, and it tells them basically what is due or what their responsibilities are. It also has whatever posts have been made, so you can see the post that I just made with the inventory of traits, and just like anything else I could click on that and open it, and I could also type a reply to that as a student. It shows that I posted a quiz earlier, which we'll talk about in a minute, and here's the discussion that I posted earlier, and you can see this would be the student's response. And on the side you can see that there's a quiz that's open that I need to take as the student, and there's an assignment that I've turned in, and my grade was 2 points out of 2. So as soon as the student responds to an assignment or a quiz, the teacher will get a notification saying that they've done that, and then the student will get a notification with their grade immediately as well. So the great thing about this is that the feedback is quick and it's easy for both sides. As a teacher, it'd be really easy to keep a hold of grades, and we'll get into the progress tab up here in a minute later. So you can see what students have turned in, which assignments and things like that. But as far as managing the management part of that learning management systems tool, managing the class is really easy with Edmodo. So I notice if I'm the student, I have this quiz open. As from the teacher view, I just went to quiz, and I can create a quiz. And here you can see you have choices. You can make questions multiple choice, true, false, and everything that you would expect. I can load questions that I've used before. I can give the quiz a title. I can add as many questions as I want to add and choose which responses are correct and all that. And they have a few options here. You can show the students their results. You can print it if you want to have paper copies. Things like you can make notes to yourself about the quiz or anything that you would need. So I've gone in and made a quiz, and this is what the student sees when they take it. So I put a time limit of an hour. It's only one question, and the due date is later today. So here's the question. What's the best football team in the NFL? I'm going to choose Ravens and submit the quiz. And so it says it's submitted. I've completed that. Now if I review results, it tells me right away as a student that I got that question incorrect. So the correct answer was the Redskins. It just shows me my score. And if I switch back to the teacher view, I'll go back to my home page to this test class, and you can see up here that I've got notifications. It says that John Doe, my test student, has submitted their quiz, and I can view that quiz. And right away I can see what their score is. I can put it in my grade book electronically, or if I have a paper copy or whatever I use, it's instant and very easy. And it could be the same thing with a short answer. I could view their short answer. I could give it a score really quick. The student gets the feedback immediately, and I have my grade, and there's no paper transactions or anything. And over here you can see that I have 3 other students who have not submitted this quiz, so I can also keep track of that. So if I go back to my home page, back to Snyder Test, we've talked about the discussions, we've talked about assignments, quizzes. Polls are interesting as well, and you can just ask students to reply to any question that you come up with, and then you can see, if you look down here, you can see this is a poll that I made. You can see what their responses are. So if I go back to the student view, I'll answer that poll. I can just scroll down. Let's see here. Oh. Here, I'll create one. So I sent the poll, and here it is, and I can answer this poll as the student. I'll choose red and vote, and then the student can see, you can see the feedback, and if I refresh this, I can see that one person voted and what their vote was. So polls could be useful as well, especially if you're using this in class, in person, and students have some sort of device that they're logged into. You could have, you could use the poll system to ask questions as sort of a check-in or an exit ticket type thing, and then students would be able to respond quickly, and you can get really quick feedback about how your lesson is going right in the middle of it. Or you could use this, like I said, as an exit ticket type thing, and still a quick way for you to not necessarily go in and create an official assignment that's going to be graded, but a really good way to get a gauge on where your students' learning is without them, having a lot of pressure of answering something in class in front of their other peers or something like that, and without, again, the paper copies and that kind of traditional grading system. It's a really good informal type of assessment. So those are the main tools that you would use as a teacher in Edmodo, and we've got our homepage up here. Just a couple more things. We have the What's Due tab, which will show whatever assignments or quizzes you've put out and when they're due, and if you click into that, you can see a whole lot of data breakdown about what your students scored and things like that, and how they scored or how they answered the questions. So again, if you're looking to see, okay, you gave a quiz and you want to know why most students got question 3 wrong or something like that, they give you some quick, easy data to read, and you can take it and move on quickly. You've got the Progress tab. So if I click Snyder Test, I can see a layout of each student, each assignment, and how they've scored. So this is almost like your grade book. And so if you keep everything in Edmodo, it'll be really easy to transfer them to these grades over to whatever grading system or program your school uses. And then you've got your library, and within your library you can create folders that separate by subject or something like that. So here's my assignments. These are things that I've uploaded or created, and it's saved right here, and I can go back and recall them anytime I need to with that library tab that we talked about earlier. And the messages is something that you can use to directly message a student, or you can see here these are people that are also Edmodo users. I could directly message them. And if parents are on Edmodo as well, you could message a parent directly through this learning management system, and it's a really super easy way to communicate for them and for you. And then finally the notifications we talked about before. So this is just a good quick overview of all the tools that Edmodo offers. I think it's a really easy to use program. It's very intuitive. There aren't a lot of complicated sections or anything that would be difficult for kids to figure out or for teachers to organize. And really, once you get your class in and the students get used to using it, then it's just a really easy program to go through.